Now, steroid use has come to be pretty synonymous with lifting weights. Your average non-gym goer might kind of just say, oh, that dude lifts, therefore he's on steroids. Often they think things like protein powder and creatine are like steroids. So this whole kind of everybody takes steroids thing is kind of there a little bit and probably always has been for a long time. But what I wanted to delve into in this episode of the show and what I want to talk about right now is my views on steroid use. Are they good, bad, indifferent? Should you, shouldn't you? Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? This is just my opinion. So it's just an opinion based on life experience, not necessarily this is gospel and this is the definitive answer. This is just what I think. So whether it's like your local bro in your local gym or whether it is a pro bodybuilder, NFL athlete, some sort of track runner, boxer, MMA fighter, I'm probably sure you can find some instances of steroid abuse, performance enhancing drugs in many different sports and also with many different everyday people as well. It's become one of these things in terms of lifting weights and things like that, that it's become more and more acceptable, if that's the right word, to a certain degree. Now, clearly for me, they have a massive set of risks that go with it. And clearly there's some potential damage that can happen long term if there's some steroid abuse permanently. And obviously there's been people very well known who have died from using steroids or have maybe had health implications that could be linked to their steroid use in previous years. The question therefore is it all worth it? In those different scenarios with all those different people and all different facets of life, is it actually worth it? Now, I think that, let's take, for example, if you're an athlete, if you are taking steroids and you are getting a performance enhancement from those steroids and using that to your advantage against your competitors, I think that is wrong. And therefore, that is not a good thing and that should be outlawed. And I guess that quite is commonly outlawed in many different sports to various different degrees, depending on how seriously the actual governing bodies of those sports take it. Now, I think if you take like an example of a fighter, a boxer, MMA, UFC, that type of thing, I think it's really, really bad for steroid abuse there, because actually what you're doing is you're creating such an advantage that you're actually now able to smash this guy in the face a lot harder and a lot more times than you would do if you were not taking those drugs, which can have a serious implication. If you're beating the fuck out of someone and you're much, much stronger and you're much, much bigger than you ever have been, or it's giving you, if you're taking various different other performance enhancing drugs, more endurance, more ability to keep going and going and going. And maybe through training is that you are pushing yourself harder in training so that you're becoming a better athlete. I think in that sort of situation where you're beating the fuck out of someone, then yeah, that's not good. However, if you're in a situation where you're in the pro bodybuilding world, now pro bodybuilding, it's kind of just the accepted norm that all of these guys are taking steroids. It's no one bats an eyelid at it. Yes, they all have to put in a tremendous amount of hard work and dedication. They all have to be on point with their nutrition, be more meticulous with their training than anybody else on the face of this earth. And they create some amazing physiques and some amazing results. Now, the underlying thing is that process of hard work and their ethics is enhanced by the use of steroids. Now, you don't look at the guys like Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler and think, wow, I'm really surprised they were on steroids. It really shocked me. It's taken me for 6. I really believed in them. It's not like they're fucking Lance Armstrong, who's, you can't really tell physically from the outside if he is or he isn't. Obviously, training performance and things like that does give indications of various different performance enhancing drugs. But clearly they are, and they don't shy away from that fact, and the sport doesn't shy away from that fact either. But in that specific scenario, all of that sport is about you standing on a stage next to another dude and seeing who's got the best physique. It's not exactly, you're not killing each other, trying to hit each other. You're not in a competitive race. You're both really given the same platform to perform on. And so therefore, from that point of view, as long as you are aware of the health implications, you are willing to take those risks, it's something you want to do, and you're doing it from a very informed position, then you're an adult, in my opinion. You know the risks, you know the issues, then have at it if that's what you want to do. So as long as you're making that decision based on one that is informed and one that is, not coming from naivety, then I think that's, your shout. You know the risks and it's your call. So then it comes on to like average Joe. So should average Joe even consider taking steroids and improving their physique, their look and their appearance through the course of using those types of drugs? Now, my belief is that I don't necessarily see the upside from using steroids as a member of the general population. It doesn't necessarily help me in personal life. It doesn't necessarily help me in my work life. I don't see that there is much benefit to being much bigger than the average person, or much stronger. Now, some people just want to be bigger. They just want to be stronger. Great, cool, go for it. Again, it's your decision. But in terms of like my personal opinion, I don't see the upside of being that bit bigger. I'm not even that big of a dude, and I already have issues with finding clothes that fit. So I don't want to exacerbate that problem by being absolutely jacked. And there's very other different complications that come with that as well. Maybe when you get onto an aeroplane, it's difficult to fit in one seat. Who knows what the issues are? So I don't really see that there being this massive upside into just being bigger, into just being stronger. If I'm not going to step on a stage, or I'm not freaking The Rock, who I'm going to hazard a guess is that dude's been taking steroids at least one time in his life, or two, or three, or four, or perpetually for years. Who knows? Don't quote me on that. That's just alleged. If The Rock's lawyers are listening, I'm just not saying that that's fact. I'm just putting out there that maybe. I don't know. Don't want to get sued by The Rock. Anyway, glossing over that, is that if you're getting paid $20-30 million a movie and you need to be jacked for that movie, then, again, it's your call. Is it worth it? Maybe for $30 million just to get jacked for one movie. Cool. Have at it. Go for it. Maybe I would do it in that situation as well. Who knows? But for me, it's the sense that those risks, those health risks, that long-term health implications that you can't really tangibly see right in front of you right now, I think that for me outweighs the risk, or the benefits, should I say, of being a little bit more jacked or anything like that. I don't really see the benefits in doing it. Now, the other thing is, for me, is do you really know what the fuck you're taking? Because just because some schmo at the gym just trots out some pills or something like that, who the fuck knows what's in them? It's not exactly regulated. It's not exactly a case where you know exactly what you're getting. Is it in those quantities, etc., etc., etc. You don't necessarily know exactly what you're getting unless you're trusting the source that you are getting them from. So for me, like steroid use, you could ask me a question like, have I ever thought about using steroids? Yes, I have. I have thought about it. I have never done it, but I have thought about it, especially in my younger days when I held a lot of attachment to my physical appearance being super important to me when I was a lot younger. And therefore I wanted to accelerate that process. I didn't want to spend years toiling away in the gym and then, getting to that stage of where I was comfortable with my physique and how I looked. I wanted to fast forward that process. So I thought about, could I take steroids? Do I know anyone? Is there anyone I could trust who could give me some good information? And in the end, I probably would say I was probably too shit scared to even do it. Too shit scared to have all of the side effects, to have the issues that go with it, to not really know what I was taking. Was I doing it right? Am I getting good advice? All of that just kind of just said, no, I'm not going to go anywhere near that. And I think that now fast forward, say, however many years since I was in my 20s, is that now looking back, I'm definitely glad I didn't. And if I'd had the time again, I definitely wouldn't do it again. Because I don't think that if you're coming at it from a point of view as you want to accelerate the process, I don't always think that's the best situation to do it from either. I think that there's a lot of merit and a lot of benefit to pushing your natural potential as far as you can go and then making your specific decision that's for you as an individual, but making sure that's coming from a rational, it's coming from a very informed choice, and it's coming from one where you're not doing it to like escape some sort of misery over your self-confidence, or you're feeling down about how you look and things like that, and hoping that being extra jacked is going to solve all of your world's problems. So for me, steroids, nah, they're not for me. And I don't think for the average person, average gym goer, they should be even on the table as something that's potentially used. But if you really want to, and you understand the risks, you understand their potential health implications, you know what you're taking, and it's an informed choice, you are an adult, you are making that conscious decision. And obviously, as we talked about, like athletes and things like that, maybe it's very like sport specific. So generally speaking, steroids in sport, not a good thing. But pro bodybuilding, it's kind of accepted. You're not really going to get on the pro bodybuilding stage if you are not jacked like Phil Heath. So there we have it. So a little bit of a tangent we went on this particular episode of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found something useful. Maybe you want to come and debate steroid use with me on Instagram. Maybe you want to do that. If you do, at iron_paradise_fitness. And also there's going to be some links below, links in the show notes, so that you can download my free Lean Life Kickstarter pack and get access to my free online calorie calculator as well. So I hope you enjoy those free resources that are going to help you live that leaner, healthier life for good. But for now, all I'm going to say is thanks so much for listening. Keep living the lean life, and I'll see you for the next episode of the show.